Hey tubers! Welcome back for another adventure. So what I have here is a 2007 Kawasaki Mule. And it seems to have a little bit of a problem. By the way, I only paid 150 bucks for it. And there's a reason why I only paid 150 bucks for it. This is the extremely short wheelbase Mule. As a matter of fact, it doesn't have a rear axle in it or an engine. So let's talk about how I ended up with this thing. And by the way, I really didn't want it. It was dropped in my driveway and I came home from my son's place and it was like, oh God, it's here. So a buddy of mine, Charlie, was helping another friend with a cleanup, and this thing was part of the cleanup. I'm told, you know, everything has a story, that this thing has really bad corrosion. Well, that's not much of a story, that's more of a fact. And it was put up for sale as kind of part of an estate, and they just couldn't give the thing away. Nobody had any interest in it at all. Anybody who came to see it would see this much corrosion and they'd go running away like their hair caught fire or something. Just nobody wanted it. So I'm kind of looking at it while we're talking. Seems tight yet. Grill, headlights, all that stuff is there. Somebody bagged the winch. Anyhow, so given that they couldn't sell it whole, they came up with the bright idea, hey, maybe if we pull the transaxle out of it, we can sell that. And by the way, lickety split, no time at all, somebody bought the engine and transaxle. Happy as could be. I mean, they could have bought the whole thing, got 4 tires and the rest of the parts for even less money, but all they bought the engine and transmission, and that was enough to make them happy. So this is a 4-wheel drive, and you can see it's a Mule 3010, and it's the gasoline version. It looks like they, once again, just zipped it right across the back here. Now, I had 150 bucks invested in it, and it's a front-wheel drive. So next thing I wanted to do, I wanted to see if the front differential was any good, right? If that's good, there's things you could do with it. If it's no good, you kind of got junk. So to that end, I had to buy a drive shaft. They didn't have the drive shaft available. And I got the idea from talking to them that the drive shaft came out a while ago. The transfer case is also not here. Anyway, if you turn this, and I don't know, could you see the front wheel? There's something it's not doing. It's not turning. And if you go out there and kind of rough around with the front wheels a little bit, it'll engage and turn for a turn or two and then stop turning. Here, let's see if I can show you that. Yeah, see? So it's turning, and once again it won't turn for too long, and then it seems to disengage itself. So it's got a blown front differential, and that's probably why whoever ended up with it when they were parting it out, that's probably why they didn't pull the front diffie out, front axle and all that. Front axles, it's got independent front suspension, and sell that out. You can see somebody put some recent work into the front end of this thing. And as a matter of fact, it even came through with a good battery. Key switches here, right? Dashboard is all here, right? It's got all the stuff, even though it's not hooked up to anything. The seat, it's maybe a 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10, I don't know, right? The Diffie, I mean, all the stuff is here. It even came with jerky. There you go. Why don't you get hitting on that? I should be careful. I'm going to put my hand in there and get bit by a mouse or a snake or something. Yeah, I was hoping that the front wheel drive was functional. And if that was the case, I was thinking, boy, front wheel drive, I can make it a kind of a short bed beast and use it for towing. At this point, I have, including that drive shaft, I have $225 tied up in this thing. Not a huge amount of money, but one has to start asking themselves what you're trying to do and what you're going to do. And in the long run, once it's running, what's it really worth? So, I'm at 2 1/4. A new front Diffie, assuming there's no other problems up front, will cost me about $300. They do sell them, and given the fact that they sell them, they must blow out fairly regularly. It appears to use the same Diffie for the 3010 for a lot of years, up to 23, I think, so it's even kind of current. So anyway, for $300, I can buy a new Diffie, aftermarket Diffie. And then I could start by trying to smash a motor onto it and try to figure out how to bring this thing back from a front wheel drive point of view. The other thing I could do, and there's a couple of drive chains floating around, I still have that drivetrain from the wrecked buggy. I think that's 150 cc's torque converter, the one that ran into is it back here? No, I think it's on the side of the house. Well, the frame, I stripped it out. The frame's on the over by the garage. Anyway, that guy, I could just cob the rear wheels on it, right? It comes with the engine, suspension, the whole bit. Kind of create a bit of a welding project. Put that on here. This thing would go pretty quick with that, but it wouldn't have a lot of power. I can also come up with a golf cart rear end. Once again, fab some kind of frame. Probably I would forget about the suspension. I would probably gear it down real low and run it through a torque converter and possibly go short and just use it for towing. That's another thing I'm considering. I don't know. I really had hopes of that front Diffie working and not having to put a fortune into it. I was hoping to be able to put it together with what I had floating around. If it was a front wheel drive and I used part of the space under the seat to put the engine in, and once again, front wheel drive, now you got to figure I could extend the frame out as far as I want and put a dump bed on it, put some heavy tires on it so it could take a lot of weight and all that other stuff, and just have it pull through the front wheel drive. Once again, gear it really low and set it up for utility. Theoretically, for pulling, I can also put a hitch on the front, and once again with the front wheel drive, use it for towing stuff around. That you'd be pretty good at it, right? I don't know. I really didn't want this, but it showed up. And now that I own it, I'm trying to figure out what exactly to do with it to stay alive. I can use the tires, honestly. My other mule could use the tires. If the bottom of the seat will fit the other mule, that wouldn't be a bad thing either. So I can put a couple of parts instantly into use. The nose of it is kind of interesting. I'm wondering if I can put that on the Rhino. I think it's a Rhino 450, Talon 450. I think it's a Rhino 450. That four-wheel drive cart that I picked up a couple of years ago. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I really didn't want this. It was hard to drag back here. I ended up using the excavator to do that. Anyway, in the meantime, I want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Tell me if you guys have stuff show up at your house or houses or in your yard. A lot of times this is the kind of thing that shows up to somebody's equipment yard. Feet down, heads up, get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.